Hello everyone, hope you're doing so well, having an amazing week, and welcome to this little video all about the oil paintings I'm working on at the moment. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new, and thank you so much for amazing comments on all my shorts and all my videos, and thank you so much to absolutely everyone who has purchased paintings from my Etsy store, of course. All these paintings will be in my Etsy store this week. I've already put up 2 and more are coming. At the end of this video there will be a little who would you rather if I get time, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I look terrible at the moment because it is so hot and I am literally melting. Begin before I turn into a puddle on the floor. It's been amazing weather this week actually, but it is a heat wave, and you know what we are like in England. We can't cope with anything above 20 degrees. It just sort of gets too much. The 3 paintings I'm going to show you have already been varnished, and they actually were older paintings that I went back to and completed, so they've actually been a really long time in the making. Here we have an amazingly fancy and majestic frog, and he absolutely loves to play croquet. And I started this painting a while back, but I had left the background and I hadn't completed it, and I just suddenly got an idea of just really building up the layers and trying to make it look as though he's really into this, in this fantasy land, magical world. And of course he's got out his croquet mallet, but I don't actually know what that's called. This painting always makes me laugh so much because I absolutely love croquet, but I'm so bad at it. I don't think I've ever won, and and I played it like a lot. Somehow whenever I go to a party someone always has it, which is really exciting. And I get really excited to play, but then when it's my turn somehow I just feel the pressure, and as I say, I just never do well. Be a special technique to it, but I don't know what it is yet. If you're good at croquet, tell me, let me know. Send me a message and I can suddenly become really good and impress people. So the next one is of snails, and this was an underpaint. This started as just a really quick underpainting that I did, and I just thought, wouldn't it be really nice if there was some kind of clandestine meeting between snails? I just think snails are fascinating. And then I didn't actually get around to finishing the painting, and so once again I just decided to just keep layering until I got the background how I wanted it. It was really more of a background issue than the actual composition, because I really liked the whole idea of these snails meeting up in secret and discussing really important things like their secret little world and what was going to happen. And we have a palace cat, and I am so fascinated by palace cats. I just think they're so incredibly beautiful. I started quite a few paintings with palace cats for a while because I saw a video about them and I thought I need to paint one, and so then I started working on all these paintings of palace cats, but then I kind of ran out of steam on them. I think it's because they're quite difficult to paint. Unlike normal cats, they just have a very different face. It's almost like a slightly more judgmental than a normal cat face. So I had to kind of try to make it a little bit more judgmental. I don't know if you can see, but at the same time they are extremely cute and very fluffy, and I wanted to take the palace cat out of the traditional world that it lives in, because obviously they live in very cold climates, and I just wanted to show it in this really interesting mushroom forest, a fairy tale castle in the background. All works in progresses, and here I had this idea of this girl who had a pet rabbit and could walk the rabbit wherever she went, and this is just something that I've always really liked the idea of, that there would be like if you could have like a magical creature and you could take it on walks and things, and it could do magical things for you, and perhaps it could turn into something else. So that's pretty much the idea of this, and it's not finished yet. This is actually on, as opposed to gesso board, which was the previous 3, this is on MDF and it's been primed, and I do really like the way the colour comes out with this type of surface. Of course I do have to do multiple layers though, much like with the gesso boards. Fairy in a forest, and she's sitting on a mushroom, and she's actually dangling a sort of charm into the pond here, and I really want to make this pond really swampy. And this painting has been going for quite some time, but it still needs multiple layers, so I will definitely update when this one is finished. And finally, here is a cat that I did wet in wet. So this was all in one layer in one sitting. And I don't usually use this technique for fantasy work because I just tend to prefer building up the layers, as I say, in other paintings, even though it does take a while. However, I really wanted to paint this cat that was in a forest, and it was kind of like roasting its paws in the fire whilst drinking some soup. And I just had this idea and I thought it would be really nice to do it just in one painting layer, wet and wet. And something really cool about wet and wet painting techniques is that it sort of keeps the freshness of the idea. If you are spending so much time on a painting, you sort of think, oh, maybe I'll just leave it for a while and then don't go back to it. And so sometimes when you're working just in one layer, it can be really fun in a way. So I do hope you like this painting, and this is just drying at the moment and it will soon be in my Etsy store. I think we're going to do a funny who would you rather, or what would you rather. It's unfortunately, I really wanted to do a film review, but I just haven't got the time because it's so late. I should really make a new summer resolution to do everything earlier. Okay, first question. Would you rather swim in a pool full of Nutella or a pool full of maple syrup? Oh my gosh, I was actually Googling Nutella the other day to see its nutritional value. You can see I have so much time on my hands. I actually think that maple syrup would be better because it's more fluid. So it would be easier to swim through maple syrup because Nutella is literally almost solid, so you wouldn't be able to get very far. Actually, swimming in chocolate, of that Roald Dahl novel when that guy got so greedy with chocolate that he just ended up making this castle. Was it a palace or castle? I'm not sure. I think it might have been a palace out of chocolate, and then it melted in the sun, and that just kind of reminds me of. Would you rather be in jail for 5 years or be in a coma for a decade? Gosh, that's like, oh my goodness, that's a really difficult question to answer. I think probably jail, because at least you would be conscious rather than being in a coma, because that, I think, to lose 10 years and being unconscious, or maybe it could be a good thing, I don't know, it depends on what's going to happen in the next 10 years. Sometimes when I watch the news I think actually it might be better to be in a coma. I'd rather have universal respect or unlimited power. I don't think that having respect from everyone is necessary in life, because you only really need respect from people who you care about their opinion. You know, if you really care about someone's opinion, you want their respect. But if somebody doesn't respect you, then you could just be like, oh, I don't care, I can just find someone else who respects me. Next question, would you rather labour under hot sun or extreme cold? This is really difficult because I would say possibly extreme cold, because then if you work really fast, you could sort of generate a bit of heat, even though it's really hard when it's so cold, because, you know, everything starts to freeze, doesn't it? So that's a really difficult one, because I feel like with hot sun, it's really hard to work when it's super, like, you're roasting. And the more you work, the hotter you get. So I don't know, actually, no, I think hot sun is probably the better answer. I'd rather have a personal maid or a personal chef. Well, I don't know, because I don't really like cooking. But I know how to cook, because I feel like it's one of those things of life you just sort of have to learn, if that makes sense. And also I tend to clean, because again, I've had to learn how to do it, which is such a shame. I wish that there was someone always cleaning for me. So I would say it wouldn't matter either one, but I would never call them very much, because, as I say, I tend to do those things myself just because it's like, it's better for you to do your own stuff. Question, because sadly it's getting so late. Would you rather spend a week in the forest, or a night in a real haunted house? You believe in ghosts, because a haunted house can only be real if you believe in the ghosts. I mean, unless there are real ghosts in the haunted house. You know, again, it all goes down to belief. Risk it with a haunted house. I mean, even though I do think there could be some forces out there, you know, I never say never to anything, but a week in a forest at night, I think that's pretty scary. I think I would really get scared. So it would have to be the haunted house. If you don't see me next week, I've been taken by a ghost, never to be seen again. So much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as I mentioned before. And my Etsy store name is Gemma Ramji Art. So if you want to check out any of my paintings there, I would be most grateful. And yeah, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.